On a mountain road in Europe, a French biker called Moreau rushes to reach a monastery. There dwells a secret religious organization, which is keeping a boy and his mother hidden because they may be the key to an ancient prophecy coming true. Moreau insists that the two must be taken to a safe place before evil forces come after them. Unfortunately, his fears come true when a group of mercenaries invade the place and start eliminating everyone inside. The group is led by Ray Kerrigan, an illegal arms dealer who sets out with his men in search of the boy. Meanwhile, the boy, called Danny Ketch, escapes from the room where he was, alongside his mother, Nadia. At the same moment, Kerrigan's mercenaries catch up with them and point their guns in their direction. Luckily, Moreau arrives at the last minute and, after finishing off the gunmen, he asks Nadia to accompany him and promises to take them to safety. However, the young woman doesn't trust him and, after going through a gate, she finds one of the monastery's vehicles and runs away with Danny. Soon after, Moreau runs to his motorcycle to try and catch up with her, followed by Kerrigan and his men. An intense chase begins on the highway, with the villain pulling out his gun and firing at Moreau's motorcycle. As a result, the biker is thrown off the road, but before he falls, he fires his gun at the wheels of the car, causing Kerrigan's vehicle to flip over. Despite the crash, Moreau managed to survive and, now that the secret organization has been destroyed, he needs help to save Danny. So he sets off in search of another biker, but of a different kind, Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider. In the not-too-distant past, Johnny made a pact with a demon called Rourke to save his father's life. However, he was deceived and now his body is dominated by the spirit of vengeance called Zarathos, which, in the presence of evil, manifests itself in the form of a flaming skull. Since then, he has been hiding from the world and secretly fighting evil entities while trying to control his curse. Even so, Moreau manages to track him down in a destroyed city and asks for his help to save Danny and his mother. Johnny doesn't accept it at first and even tries to attack Moreau with his main weapon, a huge iron chain. However, the Frenchman convinces him that if he helps him, he will give him what he wants most, to be rid of his curse forever. Although reluctant, Johnny Blaze accepts the offer and, when night comes, he tries to summon Zarathos. The spirit finally manifests and transforms him into the Ghost Rider, who sets off at high speed on his flaming motorcycle. He has to hurry, because just then, Nadia and her son are on the road, being chased by Kerrigan and his henchmen. Realizing that there is no escape, the young woman is forced to stop at an abandoned place and pulls out her gun, but is easily surrendered by the villain. Nadia begs him to spare Danny's life, but the guy doesn't care about the boy and intends to eliminate his mother in front of him. Kerrigan then points his gun at Nadia's head, but before he can fire, a burning motorcycle flies through the air and lands next to them. A biker with a flaming skull and fire-blackened clothes rises from the bike. On seeing him, Kerrigan orders his mercenaries to take him out, but the shots miss the Ghost Rider who, with his flaming chain, snares one of the gunmen and completely disintegrates him. The second gunman tries to shoot the biker, but Zarathos easily dodges the shots and uses his most powerful technique, the penance stare. With it, the Ghost Rider burns the souls of his victims, turning their sins against them. Seeing that he has underestimated his opponent, Kerrigan and his henchmen arm themselves with grenade launchers and fire at the biker. The attack works and the Ghost Rider is thrown away, giving the villain the opportunity to capture Danny and escape. The next day, Kerrigan contacts his contractor, none other than the demon who made the pact with Johnny, Rourke. He warns him that he will increase the price of the service, as he didn't expect to come across a biker possessed by a burning spirit. Rourke soon remembers who he's talking about and asks to speak to Danny on the phone. As soon as the boy is on the line, the demon conjures up a spell that makes the boy untraceable and finally demands that Kerrigan take Danny to him. Meanwhile, Johnny Blaze wakes up in a hospital bed and is attended to by a nurse. But at the first opportunity, he steals medicine from a cupboard, retrieves his clothes and escapes from the hospital, where he meets young Nadia. He tries to talk to her, but Nadia puts a gun to Johnny's head and asks why he's following her. Johnny says that he made a deal with Moreau to save Danny and, now that he can no longer feel the boy's presence, he will need Nadia's help. The young woman accepts the offer and the two set off down the road in a pickup truck, taking Johnny's motorcycle with them. On the way, Nadia explains that, years ago, Kerrigan used to be her boyfriend, but one day she tried to leave him and ended up being thrown off a building by him. About to perish, Nadia was found by Rourke, who offered a pact similar to Johnny's. Rourke saved her life, but in exchange she would give birth to Danny, the boy being none other than the Antichrist himself. Meanwhile, Danny is still in Kerrigan's custody and is being taken by car to his father. However, the boy gets up from his seat and takes control of the steering, causing the car to swerve across the road. Kerrigan tries to stop him, but because he wasn't paying attention to the road, His vehicle crashes into a wall and overturns in the middle of the road. Thanks to this, Danny escapes, but Kerrigan and his men chase after him. Unfortunately, the boy ends up twisting his foot during the escape and is captured by the villain. Afterwards, they find a young couple camping in their van, but to their misfortune, Kerrigan eliminates them both and gets back on the road, with Danny tied up in the back seat. Far away, Nadia decides to go to the base of one of Kerrigan's friends to find out his location. When they get there, she and Johnny surrender the guy, but the biker begins to sense that Zarathos wants to manifest himself again. Knowing that the spirit of vengeance will eliminate not only the criminals, but even Nadia, he tries to control the curse as much as possible. While fighting this internal battle, Johnny demands to know where Kerrigan is, and the guy reveals that he went to an old quarry. Nadia knows where this place is and decides to go there, but Johnny goes first with his motorcycle, as he can no longer stop Zarathos from manifesting himself. At the quarry, Kerrigan is negotiating with an arms dealer to buy weapons heavy enough to stop the Ghost Rider. Shortly afterwards, Nadia arrives on the scene and finds Danny tied up inside a warehouse. She manages to free her son, but just as they're about to leave, one of Kerrigan's henchmen appears and knocks Nadia to the ground. The guy pulls out a gun and is about to shoot Danny's mother, but before he can fire, he hears the roar of a motorcycle engine. Nadia takes advantage of this distraction and, after pulling out a gun hidden in her clothes, she shoots the man. Outside the warehouse, Kerrigan also hears the sound of the engine and knows that the Ghost Rider is approaching. He then grabs one of the bazookas and fires a heat-guided missile, which, sensing the biker's flames, flies towards him and hits him right on. Kerrigan celebrates his supposed victory, but when he looks closer, he sees the Ghost Rider staring at him from a distance. Zarathos energizes his chain with the flames of hell and begins to eliminate Kerrigan's mercenaries one by one. One of them pulls out his gun and fires at the Ghost Rider, but he swallows all the bullets and expels them back at the guy. The biker then runs towards Kerrigan, who manages to reload his bazooka and fires another missile at him. Once again, the biker is hit hard by the explosion and his flames begin to burn out. Even so, he's still not defeated and, after picking up a huge mining machine, he covers it in flames and turns it into a powerful flaming vehicle. Thanks to this, the biker starts destroying the whole place and eliminating anyone who crosses his path. In the meantime, Kerrigan sees Nadia fleeing with Danny, but as soon as he points his gun at them, the biker gets out of the machine, pulls him out with his chain and prepares to eliminate him. However, he stops when he sees that Danny and his mother have fled the scene. He then sets off on his motorcycle and, in a matter of seconds, the biker manages to catch up with them and, after pulling Nadia out of the car, he tries to use the penance stare on her. At that moment, Danny gets out of the vehicle and orders the biker to let her go immediately. Mysteriously, he is forced to obey and moves towards the boy, but as he gets closer to Danny, Zarathos' spirit weakens until it returns to the form of Johnny Blaze. Another day passes and the quarry has become a place of destruction, thanks to the Ghost Rider. Rourke shows up at the site and finds Kerrigan, crushed by the debris and about to perish. But as he still needs his services, Rourke gives him a second chance and, using his power, revives him. Kerrigan comes back to life, with pale skin and white hair, but with new powers, such as super strength and the ability to destroy everything he touches. He decides to run a test on one of the nurses in the ambulance nearby and, with just one touch of his hands, he completely disintegrates the guy. Rourke then orders him to go in search of Danny, who is now on the road with Johnny and Nadia. The three of them hope to find Moreau, who, a few moments later, catches up with them on his motorcycle and takes them to his hideout. Along the way, Johnny decides to seize the moment and shows off his motorcycle stunt skills, taking Danny along on the back. Despite this moment of fun, they need to hurry because Kerrigan, now transformed into Blackout, is getting closer and closer. After hours of travel, the four finally arrive at Moreau's secret hideout, where the rest of his organization is hidden. There, they meet Methodius, a monk who promises to protect Nadia and Danny to prevent the prophecy from coming true. However, Johnny has to go another way because, as promised by Moreau, he will have the spirit of Zarathos removed from his body. Danny doesn't approve of this decision, but Johnny says he has to do it because his curse could put the lives of the boy and Nadia at risk. The biker then follows Moreau, who takes him to a cave where there is a huge collection of wines. There, the ritual to undo the curse will take place, but before that, Johnny wants to know what the spirit of vengeance that inhabits his body is. Moreau explains that Zarathos was once an angel of justice, but he was corrupted by darkness and began to take revenge on sinners. Johnny then wonders about the possibility of keeping Zarathos and bringing him back to his form as a vigilante angel. Moreau believes this is possible, but Johnny backs down and decides to go ahead with his decision to get rid of the curse. Finally, Moreau warns Johnny that he needs to repent for his greatest sin, and then he reveals the reasons that led him to make the pact with Rourke. This decision came from his own selfishness in wanting to keep his father alive, even though he knew his time had come. Since then, he has felt guilty for becoming the Ghost Rider and for the eliminations he has caused. So, faced with this genuine repentance, Johnny is ready for the ritual, and Moreau offers him bread and wine as symbols of the body and blood of Christ. Moreau then takes him to a path in the middle of the cave, which only Johnny can follow. When he crosses it, the biker finds himself in the middle of a room full of exits illuminated by sunlight. This light begins to affect Johnny, who feels Zaratha's spirit struggling to stay in his body. In the midst of this spiritual confusion, Johnny remembers his past and his meeting with Rourke, when he offered him the pact that would change his life forever. Finally, even though Zarathos resists, the spirit leaves Johnny's body and he falls unconscious to the ground. Hours later, he wakes up, having survived the ritual and feeling that he is finally free of the curse. He rushes out of the cave to tell Moreau the news, but he can't find him anywhere. Instead, Johnny hears Nadia's screams in the distance and runs to her, but soon discovers that the young woman is being taken by the monks, along with Moreau and Danny. Johnny tries to stop them, but now, without the powers of the Ghost Rider, he is easily defeated. Methodius and the other monks reveal that they intend to eliminate Danny to ensure that the prophecy is not fulfilled. Moreau tries to reason with his former allies, but they don't listen and the trio are imprisoned. Methodius then takes Danny out of hiding and intends to eliminate the boy among the other monks. With the boy surrendered, Methodius pulls out a sharp blade and prepares to strike Danny. But just as he was about to do so, Blackout appears on the scene and, with his new powers, begins to eliminate the monks, one after the other. Methodius tries to defend himself, but the villain disintegrates his blade and, even when the monk tries to attack him, his hand disintegrates when it touches him. Kerrigan then finishes him off by plunging his fingers into Methodius' eye and disintegrating his skull. With all the monks gone, Kerrigan picks up the boy and sets off to take him to Rourke. Sometime later, Johnny, Moreau and Nadia manage to free themselves, but there is no sign of Danny anywhere. They soon suspect that the boy has been captured by Rourke, and Johnny asks why the demon is so interested in him. Moreau explains that Danny's body will be used for Rourke to place his soul inside him through a macabre ritual. When Johnny learns of this, he intends to save Danny, even if he now doesn't have Zaratha's spirit to help him. Moreau knows where the ritual will take place and the three decide to go there, but first they get weapons from the monk's armory. Meanwhile, Kerrigan finally leads Danny to Rourke, who reveals that he is the boy's father, thanks to the pact he made with Nadia. He also reveals that he's going to transfer his soul into Danny's body, as his current body can't handle his enormous power and is gradually destroying itself. Then, with his young, half-human, half-demon body, he will become strong enough to rule this world. The boy rejects this destiny, but Rourke injects him with a sedative, knocking Danny unconscious, and then he takes him to a huge arena to begin the ritual. As dusk falls, Johnny and Moreau arrive on the scene and Nadia, who is already armed, begins to dispatch the security guards. With the way clear, Moreau decides to take on the rest of the guards, while Johnny sneaks into the arena to rescue Danny. The two follow the plan and the biker finally finds the boy, who begins to be possessed by the transfer of Rourke's soul. Just then, Moreau appears in the midst of the demon's followers and, with his gun, begins to finish them all off. This attracts Rourke's attention, giving Johnny a chance to get closer, so he punches the villain in the face and tries to take Danny back. However, the boy is already possessed by the demon's power and, after recovering from the punch, he pushes the biker away. Unfortunately, things only get worse when Moreau finds himself facing Blackout, who grabs his hand and uses his power to destroy his body. Moreau tries to resist, but seeing that there's nothing more to be done, he uses the rest of his strength to headbutt Kerrigan, turning to dust after the blow. Now Johnny is alone, without his powers, and Blackout begins to use his corrosive power to destroy him. However, Danny stands up in front of everyone and approaches Johnny, who tries to bring the boy back to his senses. But Danny had already recovered from the ritual and realized that, because he was Rourke's son, he had the same power as his father. So he runs towards Johnny and shoots a blast of fire from his mouth, thus returning Zaratha's spirit to the biker's body. Thanks to this, the Ghost Rider resurfaces and, with his flaming chain, destroys everyone around him. Rourke then picks up Danny, who was knocked unconscious after transferring Zaratha's spirit, and takes him away, along with Kerrigan and his army of mercenaries. However, the Ghost Rider summons his motorcycle and soon catches up with them, starting a fierce chase. Rourke's men use a grenade launcher attached to one of the vehicles to stop him, but the biker manages to seize one of the trucks and, with his power, he turns it into a flaming car. The biker starts crashing into cars and pushes them all off the road. Just then, Nadia also appears driving a vehicle to help the Ghost Rider and rescue Danny. However, Kerrigan jumps onto the hood of her car and with just one finger, destroys the windshield and tries to attack her. Seeing this, the biker pulls the villain off with his chain and the two begin to fight each other on top of the truck. Blackout tries to destroy him with his power, but the biker resists and the two jump back into Nadia's car. Between punches and kicks, Kerrigan ends up taking the upper hand in the fight and squeezes Johnny's neck, causing his flames to burn out more and more. Even so, he soon pulls himself together and uses his penance stare to destroy Kerrigan's soul. The villain can't resist this technique, so Ghost Rider throws him into the road, with Kerrigan's body being destroyed by Nadia's car. Now all that's left is Rourke's car, so the biker summons his motorcycle and speeds towards his archenemy. Finally, when he catches up, he throws his chain towards the car's exhaust pipe and pulls it, causing Rourke's vehicle to roll off the road. The demon, seriously injured from the collision, drags himself away to escape, but the Ghost Rider has no intention of letting him get away. So, with his chain, he throws Rourke into the air and hurls him towards the ground, sending him back to the depths of hell. With the enemy defeated, Zarathos celebrates his victory until he hears Nadia's cries in search of Danny. The boy was in the car and also suffered the impact of the accident, making the spirit of vengeance feel guilty for the first time and try to help the boy. He then removes Danny's body, which is still unconscious, from the vehicle and returns it to his mother. Soon afterwards, Johnny returns to his normal form, but he senses that Zarathos has regained his original angelic state and this manifests itself through the blue flames on the biker's hand. Johnny then uses this new power to bring Danny back and the boy wakes up, now free from Rourke and the dreaded prophecy. Thanks to Johnny's efforts, Nadia and her son can finally live in peace. As for Johnny Blaze, he accepts the spirit of Zarathos who, having returned to his form as an angel of justice, manifests his power through blue flames. So the two are still united in the form of the warrior known as the Ghost Rider.